Welcome to the channel. This is Waga. We are going to solve another LeetCode question, and the question in question is going to be basic calculator. And you're basically given a string. You're supposed to evaluate the value. In this case, 3 plus 2 times 2 is going to be 7, right? So how we would do this is pretty straightforward. Is we would use a stack, and let's just get rid of this. We would use a stack and a variable called num, and in our first instance we would start and an operator, right? We could call it an operator or a sign, right? We could call it sign, and the sign is going to be plus. And what we're going to do in that case is, if the sign is plus, we're just going to add the number. In this case, we're going to use s as our string. So on our stack, we're going to add 11. And then after that, if the value is negative, we just add the number as a plus, right? You can add a negative. So we could say 11 plus, and put it in brackets, minus 5. And then afterwards, we add. And what we want to add is the next number is going to be plus 4. And then when we get to a multiplication, what we want to do is we want to pop it off the number of our stack. So in this case, we pop the number off our stack, and this is going to be the current number is 4, so we pop it off our stack like so, and we multiply it by the number, the next number, the number that you're going to use to multiply. In that case, is going to be 11 times 3 is, I'm guessing, 12. And after that, we add 12. And after that, when you get to division, we divide the number. We pop the number off, and then we divide it, and then we add it, right? So in this case, we would remove 12. We do 12 divided by 6 is going to be 2, and then we add that, so 2. So afterwards, we evaluate this by getting the sum of the stack, right? This is going to be 6 plus 12 is 18 plus 2 is 20. So the answer is 20. So basically, that's what we are supposed to do, right? So how we would solve this, if we put this in code, is we would come here and we would create what we want to, all the things we want to do. And the first one is going to be num. After that, we're going to have sign, and we are going to have stack as our variables, and num is going to be 0. The sign is going to start off as a positive, plus, right? We're going to start off positive so that we can add the first number, right? In this case, we want to add the 11, right? In this case, because the sum is going to be start off as 11, so in this case, we're going to have 11, and the reason we're including the sign is so that we can add the 11, right? And afterwards, we loop through our string and add each character, right? So that's what we're going to do. So now that we can start off, we can do our loop, and we can say for I in our string, and we are going to add to the string a plus, like so. We put a plus at the end, so that when we are done with, quite possibly with the characters, we can add the current number of 0 to the string, right? So that when we are completely done with this, the current number will be reset to 0, and we just want to add it to the stack, right? So we add a plus here so that it can have the sign can be the plus. You will see it when we write out the code, right? So we could say if I is digit, and we check if I is a digit. If it is a number, we want to run our code to convert it into a number that we can add to it, to our stack, right? In case it's a number that is greater than 9, right? So for that, we could just say num is going to be num multiplied by 10 plus I, and we convert I into an integer, right? So we just say I, and we put int, like so, right? And then okay, like so, and then else if we want to check elif I, if it's any of the operators, right? So we come here and say elif I in we put the various operators that we want to consider, and the operators are going to be plus, minus, multiply, and divide, right? Elif, it's that, and we check if sign, if the sign is going to be, if we have a plus, right? If we have a plus, and we're going to start off with a plus at the beginning, remember, so that we can add our number, and all we need to do is we just need to come to our stack, and what we want to do is we want to append, and what we want to append is the actual number, right? So in this case here, what that would do, it would lead to the first number being appended, right? if we start off with the same, with this string, I'm talking about in this string's example, right? So, or also our first number, whichever way. If we start off with a number, we will start off, if we have a number, like, we will skip over the space, but if we have a number, it is going to be added to our stack, right? And after that, we want to check if we have a negative, right? So we could just come here and copy this. No need to type it all out, right? And we paste this, and what we want is a negative. And if it is negative, what we want to do is we want to append the number stack dot append, and if you can remember, we just do negative number, right? Because we do 11 plus minus 5, right? So we do that, and we come here and we paste, and the next thing we want to do is we want to check if we are dealing with multiplication, right? If the sign is a multiplication, what we want to do is we want to append to our stack, but first we want to pop off the last number, right? We want to say stack dot pop, we remove the last number, and then we multiply it by the num, right? By the current number, right? So in this case, we would come here, and the previous number is 4, right? We would remove this 4, multiply 4 times 3, and then append it to the stack, right? So we just do that, and then we come here and we paste this, and after that, what we want to do is we want to do the division, and the division is going to be pretty much the same. It's just going to be stack, and what we're going to append is going to be stack dot pop, the last number, and we want to multiply it by the number in question, right? And after that, we just want to set our sign. Our sign is going to be I, whatever is the last sign, the last character. In this case, when we come to the end, we're going to get a plus, and afterwards we're just going to set the number to 0, right? Before we add. Make a quick correction. What we could do here is we could divide, and afterwards we need to get the truncation of it. So it's a math dot trunc, and what we're going to do is come to the stack here and envelope that like that, and afterwards all we need to do is just return the sum of the stack, like so, right? And if we run our code, it's accepted, and if we submit it, it is also accepted. So basically that. Our time complexity is going to be O(n), our space complexity is going to be O(n), because we create a stack that will potentially have as many elements as our array, right? So it's going to be O(n), O(n) for both of them. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.